Never trust a 19-year-old who promises to connect the world, especially when he's coding in his underwear at 2 a.m., surviving on Red Bull and raw ambition. Mark Zuckerberg didn't just become a billionaire, he hijacked human psychology, betrayed his closest friends, and built a $120 billion empire that makes ancient emperors look like street vendors. This isn't some feel-good success story. This is a masterclass in digital manipulation. Smash like and subscribe if you're here to uncover legends. Picture this. Harvard's most exclusive clubs rejecting him, billion-dollar betrayal lawsuits flying like confetti, and a simple hoodie worth more than most people's entire net worth. But what happened in that cramped Kirkland House dorm room on October 28, 2003, nobody was ready for. The lines of code he wrote that night didn't just transform his life, they rewired your brain, and you're still living with the consequences. Let me paint you the beginning. 1984, Mark Elliott Zuckerberg enters this world in White Plains, New York. Hardly the glamorous origin story you'd expect from a future digital overlord, right? Dad's pulling teeth as a dentist. Mum's analyzing minds as a psychiatrist. Comfortable middle-class existence, sure, but nothing screaming future world dominator. But here's where young Mark gets interesting. While other kids were mindlessly playing video games, he was architecting them. At just 12 years old, this prodigy creates a messaging system for his father's dental practice. 12! Most of us were still struggling with multiplication tables, and Mark's out here revolutionizing how dentists communicate. The obsession was already fermenting in his blood. Phillips Exeter. Academy arrives like destiny calling, elite prep school atmosphere, future world leaders polishing their halos. You know the scene. But Mark, he couldn't care less about their precious traditions. He builds Synapse, a music prediction program that could read your musical soul before you even knew what you wanted to hear next. Microsoft waves $1 million check at this 17-year-old kid. $1 million. His response? Thanks, but no thanks. That's when you realize someone's playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. Then, Harvard happened. September 2002, those legendary golden gates, ivy strangling ancient walls, the intoxicating promise of networking with tomorrow's power brokers. Mark strolls onto campus with his trademark hoodie, battle-worn laptop, and an idea brewing that would make him more influential than any Harvard graduate in the university's centuries-long history. But first, he had to get spectacularly rejected by their exclusive final clubs, and boy, did that sting. October 2003. Mark's planted in his Kirkland House dorm room, bitter as hell about those snooty final clubs giving him the cold shoulder. You know what they say about a scorned programmer? They don't plot revenge, they code it. He hacks Harvard's entire student directory, steals everyone's photos, and births Face Mash. Rate your classmates' hotness, Harvard style. The website demolishes Harvard's network infrastructure in exactly 4 hours. 4 bloody hours. The university administration was less than thrilled, but Mark had tasted digital power, and it was intoxicating. Now here's where the story gets absolutely delicious. The Winklevoss twins, Cameron and Tyler, these Olympic rowing golden boy giants, approach Mark with their brilliant concept. Harvard Connection, a social network exclusively for college students. They desperately need someone with Mark's coding wizardry. Mark nods, smiles, and agrees to help them build their dream. Then he pulls off the most elegant heist in digital history. February 4th, 2004. While the twins are anxiously waiting for their Harvard Connection website, Mark launches something completely different. The Facebook, not Harvard Connection. The Facebook. Oops, right? The betrayal was poetry in its calculated simplicity. While Cameron and Tyler kept checking their emails for updates, Mark was constructing his empire at light speed. By February's end, half of Harvard's undergraduate population was addicted to his creation. By March, Stanford, Columbia, and Yale were practically begging for access. The kid who couldn't crack Harvard's social elite had just created the planet's most exclusive digital club, and everyone was desperately clawing to get inside. But here's the psychological warfare nobody discusses. Mark wasn't simply building a social network, he was architecting human behavior itself. Every like, every share, every endless scroll, he was mapping the neural pathways of digital addiction like a neuroscientist studying lab rats. The genius wasn't buried in elegant code, it was understanding that humans are fundamentally lonely creatures, desperately craving validation from strangers, and that desperation, pure profit waiting to be harvested. Enter Sean Parker, stage left. Napster's rebellious bad boy, the digital pirate who brought the entire music industry to its knees. He glides into Mark's universe like a leather-jacketed devil, whispering sweet disruption. Drop the, Parker suggests with a smirk. Facebook sounds cleaner. But Parker wasn't just offering branding advice. He was importing Silicon Valley's ruthless swagger, venture capital connections, and the intoxicating philosophy that disruption isn't merely business strategy, it's total warfare. By 2005, Facebook was spreading through universities like a digital plague, college by college, campus by campus. Mark hadn't even legally purchased alcohol yet, but he'd already hooked millions to his behavioral modification machine. The validation dopamine rush, the fear of missing out, the hypnotic scroll through other people's highlight reels. He'd weaponized human psychology and rebranded it as staying connected. Then Silicon Valley's money machine awakened. Accel Partners hurls $12.7 million at this college dropout wearing yesterday's hoodie. $12.7 million. Normal people would retire immediately, purchase oceanfront property, maybe learn pottery. Not Mark. He was just getting warmed up. The kid who once coded dental appointment systems now had Silicon Valley's most powerful players camping outside his office. But every empire demands its blood price. And Mark's bill was about to arrive in the form of lawsuits, congressional hearings, and betrayals that would make Shakespearean tragedies look like bedtime stories. My heart started racing when I realized what was coming next. The empire Mark had constructed was about to face its most dangerous enemy, the brutal truth. 2008 arrives like a hurricane. Lawsuits are multiplying faster than Facebook friend requests. The Winklevoss twins want their revenge served ice cold. Eduardo Saverin, Mark's co-founder and former best friend, gets systematically diluted out of billions. Betrayal tastes particularly bitter when it's seasoned with astronomical wealth, doesn't it? Mark eventually settles with the twins for $65 million, pocket change compared to Facebook's future valuation, but at that moment it felt like crushing defeat. Here's the twisted, psychological masterpiece. Every betrayal, every lawsuit, every enemy Mark manufactured only intensified his obsession. While his former friends battled over scraps, he was engineering something humanity had never witnessed. A platform where billions of people would voluntarily surrender their most intimate thoughts, photographs, and connections. The ultimate surveillance network, disguised as reconnecting with your college roommate. This is Legend Explore, where stories aren't just told, they're unleashed like digital tsunamis. Subscribe immediately and drop your wildest billionaire suggestion in the comments. Every legend belongs here, because every empire throughout history started with one obsessed individual willing to shatter every rule everyone else blindly follows.